Just want to let you lot know that if you're watching this clip on the Fozcast YouTube channel, the full episode is now available to watch exclusively on Spotify, and it's free. Come on.
I don't know why he was in a bad mood one morning, and we played the night before, and I was just, you know how we warm up kicking balls to each other and all that, right? And I was just a bit tired, that's all. And the goalkeeper coach there, Giorgio Pellizzaro, has passed away, bless his soul as well. He was an excellent coach. Excellent. He was the best goalkeeping coach that I had while I was in the whole, really, really good. And both him and Ed started having a crack at me, like said to wait. And I said to them, all right, but there was people behind too. I said, all right. So I was just a bit tired. I'm sorry, because we played last night. Yeah. And
what were they slipping through your hands?
No. I was, that one you just,
yeah.
I wouldn't be slipping through my hands. I would have went, yeah. And then Ed said, so I said, don't be saying that in front of everyone. I said, I'm telling you now, don't say that. And he said it again. I said, you just wait till you get inside. So when he got inside, I decided I put it to everyone. I defended myself. But when I came back to QPR in 2008, he was great. I gave him a big hug and all that. He was so funny. Nicest man ever. I felt terrible. Big Ed. Yeah, Carlo. Yeah, Carlo. When I got injured, Carlo came in, was outstanding. Yeah. Absolutely outstanding. Yeah, he was outstanding. But that was an experience because foreign coaches had come in, but not to the extent that they were now. Yeah. It was like, so, watching how he worked, Claudio Ranieri, and that was difficult for him then because his English wasn't great. So it was that through the interpreter all the time. And I think he learned as well. I think he learned about the fact, this is why I was asking about the difference between Champions League and Premier League, because I think he learned, because we used to train very hard, but then he realised going to come March, April. Yeah,
that's the Italian way though, isn't it? Italian coaches.
But they drop. But every Wednesday was like a running day. When I say running, I mean hard running. 1,000 metres, 800 metres. Yeah, exactly. 400, 200s, 100s. I used to look at them and I go, wow. I said, you just wait till March, April.
Yeah, it's true.
And it would happen, with the exception of maybe some of the young players, but it just drop off because you can't.
The intensity in England is so much higher. Like if you look at the Italian leagues, for example, it's a lot more passive football. It's a lot more kind of relaxed.
It's more patient.
Yeah, patient.
More patient builder. And like I said as well, they stay off you a lot because they're used to the other ones having so much quality as well. If you go closing down too much, they just boom, 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 play around you. And the other thing as well, I mean, that was back then. But I mean, as I say to everybody, regardless of what you say, I mean, last year's Europa League was between the 16th and the 17th team.
Ridiculous, isn't it?
In the Premier League. So as much as people say, 16 versus 7, but it doesn't matter. It's still a good thing for the Premier League, really.
Without doubt, yeah.
The depth in the Premier League, you have to say, is phenomenal. It is phenomenal. I mean, Spain will have they'll have, and rightfully so, they'll say we won 6 out of the last 10 Champions League or so with the, but England's but I just think the intensity of the game, I think they've seen that, is on a different level because like you said before with Wrexham in comparison to some of the Australian boys. Yeah. And Joe Lolly said this on his podcast as well. Even though, to be fair to the Australian boys, they play in the summer, so I think that has a big effect because you can't go 100% in the summer. That's why I think they should go in the winter. But if you're much fitter than the other team, it doesn't matter how much skill they've got. You run all over them. You just run all over them. They'll be like. And just run all over him.
That's why the modern game now, like PSG, they're the ones doing it at the minute, aren't they? They're showing that fitness and pressing with absolute intensity.
What about that final against Inter Milan?
Scary, isn't it?
Wasn't it?
It's scary.
That wasn't the most complete finals. Ironically, I reckon since Barcelona beat Man United at Wembley.
Yeah, probably. Huh? Yeah.
That was just unbelievable.
Yeah,
what about? I don't know if you noticed. I never noticed this before. I got told this, they do this every game. At the start of the game, I don't know if it was João Neves or it was Vitinha. The kickoff, he just kicked it out.
Yeah, did you see that?
Did you see that, Tommy?
In the Champions League final.
Champions League final. It was like a line out, and they just set themselves up.
And then they
basically didn't lose the ball for the rest of the game.
They just penned them in.
Not sure about that.
I know, yeah. Better
watch it.
Not sure about that.
It's going to be a throw-in after 3 seconds.
It'll be a throw-in, yeah.
You get some good odds on
that, won't you? Yeah. Waiting for that laugh.
Who were your other goalies at Man United? It was Taibbi and...
Massimo Taibbi came in. Raymond Van der Haar was there. Who was a young boy? I think Tommy Eaton was a young boy.
Really?
Young with the because when they toured here about 2 or 3 years ago, he goes, "You don't remember me, do you?" And I went, "I don't remember." Not when you say remember, I know you. I've watched that, but he goes, "I was a young kid. I was like coming through the schoolboy system."
No way.
Yeah. And I don't know if Keith Pilkington was still there then or not.
Kevin Pilkington, yeah.
Did you overlap with Barthez at all? Or
Barthez, I was for like that 6 months. He was a nice guy. He was a nice guy, but he got surprised a bit too.
Really?
Well, in terms of like goalkeeping in England, again, is different to goalkeeping on the continent because, from the crosses perspective, they let a lot more go.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't think he was quite ready for that. But lovely guy. Absolutely lovely guy.
Were you aware of, obviously, Peter Schmeichel had done so much for the club and he was this massive sort of like
100%, bro. 100%. I had those other 3 clubs I could have went to, but I thought that would be a great challenge to go there. I really did.
Were you aware? Because I think until probably Edwin van der Sar, really, until Van der Sar got in and really kind of took over and he really made it his own, it was kind of a bit of a struggle for United to find, wasn't it?
It was, but they had a good team that they could get through it.
Yeah,
but
true.
also, during that time as well, I remember all of a sudden Roman Abramovich came in and got Chelsea.
Yeah, of course.
And then Chelsea went on, the Mourinho come, Arsenal had that unbeaten season as well. So, but 100%. But I was like, this is good for me.
Really,
they're straight after 100% is a good challenge. Yeah,
I love that, mate.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, 100%. And I think, if like I said, when I look back, there's part of me that goes, you should have just went to Juventus. But I think as well, I'm not that type of character. You know me well enough now to say I'm not that. I'll go, I'll take that on. And I felt as I had unfinished business there. And the big thing, we're going to win trophies. I'm sure we're going to win trophies. Yeah, that was the big thing for me, especially the league. And no one can take that away from you, brother.
It's funny, Edwin van der Sar, right? I've probably said this on another podcast. I know I have actually. When he signed for Man United, I loved Edwin, by the way. What a lovely man. He said when he was leaving Juventus, he said obviously he left Juventus and went and signed for Fulham in England. He said just finished the season, had a really good season. He said, and then the owner rings me and says, listen, Edwin, fantastic season this year, but we're going to sign a new goalie. We've just agreed to sign Gianluigi Buffon. 40 million euros?
Yeah, 40 million was
40 million euros, world record transfer for a goalkeeper. He said, but listen, no decisions have been made yet, all right, Edwin? No, so we expect you to come back in the summer and fight for your place. And Edwin was like, yeah, all right, good.
To be fair, when I spoke to Juventus, it was actually after, remember when Man United beat them in the semi-final?
Yeah.
Remember they beat them in Turin?
Yeah.
3-2, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. So I was flying during that game and I met them the next morning. And it was Roberto Bettega, who was their ex-player, who was their sort of front man.
Yeah.
There was a guy called, I think it was Geraldo, he was the link with the Agnelli family who owned it. And there was another guy called, I think it was Luciano Moggi, who was like, you do your research anyway, but he sort of, and I remember during the conversation, coming back to what you're just saying about that thing, I just said out the blue, I was there with my agent and the interpreter, I just said out the blue, I go, well, in terms of being number one or what, and like Moggi hit the roof. He goes, we Juventus, we can't guarantee anyone a number. And I was like, fair enough. But he did say, do you really think that we'd pay you this to put you on the bench? I went, I guess not. I said, because they had that, trying to think of his name. His name will come to me now. Their goalkeeper. He won a European Cup. He won a Champions League with them. He'd been there for a while.
Peruzzi, was it?
Italian
Peruzzi.
team. Peruzzi.
Yeah,
Angelo
Angelo
Peruzzi. That's it. Angelo
done,
Peruzzi. Yeah. So that, coming back to that, when you say no guarantees and all that, that's what it reminds me of.
Of course, yeah.
But fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Thanks everybody for watching. We hope you enjoyed this clip of the Fozcast. If you would like to watch the full episode, it is now available exclusively on Spotify for free.